Hey guys, it's Friday. So I meant to hop on here a few more times this week, but you know, COVID-19, family, work-life balance, it all gets in the way even for the best of us. So anyway, today I want to come on here and talk to you guys about part 4 of the series that I'm doing, which is about apps that will help your productivity when working remotely. And this will go for, this is useful information whether you are a business owner or you are an employee now working from home as part of your job, and you may not be used to it, or maybe you're looking for more ways to be efficient. So today I want to talk about file management, and this is a huge one that can really hang people up. And I want to make sure, first of all, I'm going to talk about the apps, but there's going to be two facets to this. There's the app and then actually using the app. And actually using the app, that second part, is where I find there's tools that are really great that people maybe are aware of, but they maybe could be using them a little bit better. So I'm going to touch on that. So let's dive in here. Just looking at my notes. Let's see. All right, so yes, of course. So the first one that I want to talk about is my absolute favorite, and Google. It's plain and simple. It's Google Drive. It's available on iOS. It's available on Android, and it's available on the web-based version. And actually, it has an integration for your computer where if you don't want to actually go into a web browser, you can actually save a file to Google Drive through your file manager on your computer. Anyway, so Google Drive is one of the most popular ones. I think G Suite just continues to develop even more. I'm hands down huge Google G Suite fanatic. Use it for calendar and storage and creating intranet sites for instructions for our internal team, for clients. So Google Drive is really awesome. It gives you approximately 15 gigabytes of free storage with any Google account. You can edit, share, store files on there. PDFs, photos, videos, any kind of document you really can think of, even proprietary document files. You won't be able to open it within, do a preview within G Suite or Google Drive. Whereas, like if you had a Word file and you had it in there, you could click on it and you'd be able to see a preview. Google also has within Google Drive has the ability to create Google Docs, Google spreadsheets. So that's kind of their own version of, their Microsoft Office suite. The other really neat thing that some people don't know is if you receive a file and your preference is to use, Google Sheets, for example, and you get a file that is sent to you for use and it's an Excel file, there's a capability where you can upload the Excel file, for example, and it will convert it to a Google Sheet automatically. So it actually will convert the file format for you without creating a new document and actually having to copy and paste everything over. I've done this a ton of times. It's really, really handy. So if you want to get rid of that kind of hard file, you can, or sometimes it's handy to keep a copy of both, where if you have an Excel file and you want to have some collaboration with somebody else at your company or on your team, you can take that Excel file, which is not cloud-based and it's not set up to be collaborative. You can import it into Google Drive. It becomes a Google Sheet, and now both people or multiple people can work within that Google Sheet. It'll track changes. You can look over versions, history, all that kind of stuff. So it's a nice way to kind of take a hard file and make it into a collaborative file. So that's one of the things I really like about Google Drive. Also, Google Drive has a ton of integrations. I mean, there's hundreds of them, thousands of them. I honestly couldn't even tell you, but I have one for an integration between Google Drive and a tool that I use called Snagit, which takes screen captures, and every time a screen capture is taken, I can click on the little Google Drive icon and it saves exactly to this folder that I specifically have set up. It integrates with Slack and Trello, Asana. It integrates with on your mobile devices. You can a lot of times open up an email or an attachment and save that directly to Google Drive, so you don't have to get onto a computer if you're on the go a lot. You can view, like I said, view comments or view a history of changes. You can revert back to previous versions. You can view comment, edit, all kinds of stuff. I love Google Drive. I'll come back to Google Drive in a minute because this is going to really go for any of the file management apps, but Google Drive would be, I would say, my number one pick. Dropbox is the second one that is very popular and it's very handy. It's very, very popular. People, I feel, tend to use it a little bit more for sharing versus collaboration. I think that I have found that both working internally and with clients, that Dropbox, while it is very good for collaboration and sharing, what ends up happening is most of the time what happens is Dropbox, if you have a file stored in Dropbox, it has an integration with your Mac or your Windows device, or even through the app. And if you change a file, what happens is that file needs to sync back up. And that's syncing, if there is a disconnect with the internet connection, there's a delay in the syncing of the file. And if somebody goes into that file simultaneously, sometimes those changes don't happen or don't save. So we had an instance where we were working with a client. The client asked us to do a bunch of things. We updated this document, and there was some kind of glitch in the syncing that happened. So when we said, yep, it's all good to go, it looked good on our end, and the client went in and there was nothing there. So where that can be a problem is on the collaboration side, not so much the sharing side, but if you have multiple people using files, like I was describing with Google Doc or with Google Drive, if you have multiple people using a file, you are much better off to go with something like Google Drive versus Dropbox. Google Drive is much more instantaneous. You can't even access a file unless you have the internet, whereas you can edit a file hard copy on your computer, like a Word doc, but then your computer again has to manually, even if you have it on automatic, manually initiate that sync, and then the sync has to happen, and you have to hope that sync happens before the next person goes into the file. So it can be a little hairy. Dropbox also does not offer that much free storage, not as much as Google Drive. It does offer you the ability to store photos, videos, files, just about anywhere you want online. And it does have some good integrations. I'm just looking here. Yes, okay, yep. So I was just looking at my notes about uploading and syncing files, and that's really, for me personally, that's one of the big hangups with Dropbox is their syncing system is not really that great for collaboration. It is for sharing and storing. So if you're looking to collaborate on a document, Google Drive is the way to go. Or if you don't care about multiple people accessing a document at the same time, you could still go with Dropbox. But if you have a file where you might have two people working on a spreadsheet at the same time, you want to make sure that that's as instantaneous as possible so that you aren't duplicating work or somebody isn't writing over what somebody else has done. I hope that makes sense. Hi, Adam. Hi, Madalena. I hope I said that right. Let's see here. And then we have Adobe Acrobat, which Adobe Acrobat is more of a reader versus a file management app. However, you can manipulate documents in some ways there. So while storing files are great, sometimes you need to annotate or sign them. Personally, I do all my signatures through a digital signing platform, whether that be Adobe Sign, there's HelloSign, there's multiple signing apps or platforms out there. Some of them are free, some of them are paid. If anyone thinks that going through that kind of doing a live stream on digital signing would be helpful, definitely comment and let me know whether you're watching live or the replay. But Adobe Reader is really nice because you can create fillable files depending on the version that you have, and you can easily then store those PDF devices to Dropbox, Google Drive, Microsoft OneDrive, if you're a Microsoft person, Box, any of those storage kind of devices. Now, Adobe Acrobat Reader is available on iOS, Android, web, Mac, and Windows. I tend to use Adobe Acrobat very, very infrequently. I'm a Mac user, so I actually end up using Mac, I think it's Preview. Let's see here. I don't even know what it's called because it's just like a default thing that I go to all the time. Yeah, it's Preview. And with Preview, very similar to Adobe, you can manipulate PDFs, but it's not just PDFs that you can use with Preview. It's only available on Mac, but you can mark up files. You can add in fields for that need to be filled in or be fillable. You can convert files to different formats. So for me personally, I use Preview, but sometimes I'll use Adobe Acrobat depending on what it is that I'm doing. But if you are on a Microsoft or a PC device, definitely that would be something I would highly recommend. So those are kind of, there's other ones, like I said, there's Box, there's Microsoft OneDrive, there's other storage devices or storage apps that are good, but those are my two, I would say the top two, and they tend to be popular and probably for good reason. But the second prong of this that I want to mention, regardless of whether you use one of the apps that I talked about or if you are using a different one, it's one thing to have a good app or platform to store your files, but then there's also the aspect of you have to be able to find them, because you can dump everything in a big trash bin, but that doesn't mean you can find what you're looking for if you threw it away and you forgot. So one of the things that I really try to work with people on is organizing files in a way that can be not just from like file folders, but also down to naming files. So I always recommend sticking to a consistent format. So for example, with all of our storing of files, we'll usually use, like if it's for clients, we'll use the client's initials and then a slash and then an area of work or the year. So it might be like MD 2020, receipts /receipts. Or it might be MD accounting 2020 receipts, something like that. If your receipts are an easy example, especially since tax deadline's been extended now in the US, but anyway, it's that time of year that we have to think about that stuff. So, but then you have those folders, and that's great. But when you have these apps where you can dump a bunch of files, if you have the receipt and it's named ABC 1234567, which sometimes you'll have like if you download a PDF of a receipt, there's usually some kind of default name to it, and usually it's not pretty. It's maybe an INV and a long number, which is the invoice number of the company that they issued you. I tend to do something like if it's a receipt for a restaurant, you put the restaurant name, and then I put dash 2020-4 for the month of April dash the date. So what happens is as receipts come in and I upload it to my storage system or storage app that I use, what ends up happening is then the format, if you stay consistent, it will list in a consistent manner. But then also if I say, oh man, I can't find that receipt from this one restaurant, by naming the receipt, the restaurant name, and then having the date format, I can do a search in Google Drive of just the name of the restaurant, and it should pop up any receipts, and then I can look at the list of the receipts if I go to someplace frequently, or if it's a receipt for a tool that I use to run the business, I can then quickly see, okay, this is the one from March. I need the one from February, and I can easily find it. The problem is a lot of people don't do that. They have these storage systems or these storage apps that are really handy, and this happens too, not just, I mean, like I said, not just on the business side, but even personal side. You might have, medical stuff that you're digitally filing for your kids or something like that. Just make sure you come up with a system where you can easily organize and easily file and easily search. Because when you have these big systems, the search feature becomes so critical as you add more and more files. I hope that makes sense. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this video on file management. Also, I want to mention that, and I had mentioned a couple other times on my videos, but during the COVID-19 crisis and pandemic, I'm trying to help as many people as possible, part of why I'm doing some of these live streams, and I've changed the topics from what I originally planned, but I am offering all of my training courses at 50% off with the promo code COVID-19. So if there's anything in the store, any of my courses that you think would be helpful, take advantage of it, because as soon as this calms down, I've never offered a 50% discount before. I've been in business 9 years and never done it. I just want to help as many people as possible, and I know that people are looking at reinventing themselves a little bit, starting side gigs, trying to organize their email and their file management and all that stuff. And one of the courses I have is the Email Rockstar. It helps you get to inbox zero. I have another one called the Affiliate Rescue Workshop, which is all about creating an affiliate or passive income for yourself using affiliate marketing. I'm putting some new stuff together as well. And then in January, I released the Success Mindset Workshop, which really focuses on mindset and developing the right attitude and mindset to find the success that is what you're looking for, not what somebody else defines for you. And then as part of the Affiliate Rescue Workshop and the Success Mindset Workshop, both of those workshops get ongoing monthly support calls with me. So I hope you guys find it helpful. COVID-19, if you want to join me, our next support call is in May. And if you have any questions about these apps, of course, leave a comment. If you have any other apps that you really like, that you think that the group would enjoy, definitely put it out there. And everybody has different needs and different situations. So somebody might absolutely hate Google Drive and like Dropbox, So we're all in this together, and I hope everybody has a great day. We'll talk soon. Thanks, you guys. Bye.